and improve their performance through self-regulation, comprising the processes of cognitive, motivational, and behavioral strategies. Now, this very great social scientist, Charles Mendes, he developed in the Western countries, he was the first person to develop the concept of self-leadership. But I would like to add that, you know what, in a number of occasions, or in many times, the Western have come to the Eastern horizon, they come to the East, tap into the Eastern literatures, and then we pick up essentials, and then we say, we develop, we frame it up, develop it, and then we claim this is mine too. No attribution to the Eastern tradition. And so this basically is what we know as violation of academic entitlement. And Western scholars are very much prone to violation of entitlement because they come to that from their own resources. Never give up. So in the West, Charles Mans was the first person who developed the concept of self-leadership. And that was just in recent years. But prior to that, over 500 years ago, a Vedic scholar called Rupa Goswami had hinted development and for global peace and harmony. Or in his piece in a practice of Rita, originally, the nature of instruction, he had mentioned, why should we enter? Why should we enter? That was these are your sessions. This is the base of the Indian philosophy. So, the West, they come and there's an understanding, there's no attribution, we have the idea. In fact, enemy, wherever you say something, it didn't come from the blues. And so you must have gotten the idea from somebody. The right thing for you to do is to be right thing. Where you got your idea. So Rupa Goswami, he had his idea from Srimad Bhagavatam, which was uttered by Srila Vyasadeva. These are literatures, very literatures, in your own country. And so India is basically the root of wisdom. From your own very literatures, we become enriched and develop ideas, develop technologies, develop and generate different types of strategies to create whatever we needed to get along with in this sphere of existence. Self-control means one's thinking, feeling, willing, and actions will check those in the face of frequently more appealing option that provides immediate sensory gratification. Self-control, you know what, is the foundation of criminology. Those who study criminology, you know that the very general theory of crime hinges on self-control. Now, according to Hitchie, Dr. Christian and Hitchie, in 1990, they developed this theory, documented it. According to Dr. Christian and Hitchie, the general theory of crime stipulates that all crimes and antisocial behavior are due to no self-control. Again, these ideas are from Rupa Goswami's works. Unfortunately, People, the many people come to the West, come from the West, they travel with very good teachers, they get essential needs that they need to develop, and with learning, this is my tool. That is sad. Academic achievement is performance outcomes in intellectual settings, intellectual environment, taught in schools, colleges, and universities. Social change is the augmentation of human or social conditions by supporting individuals, communities, or organizations with growth. Some therapeutic intervention involves a calculatory self-administration of specific transcendental sound vibrations that facilitate a positive shift. Now, the specific sound vibration that we need our talk on today is the Hare Krishna Nama. This very therapeutic intervention has been developed or has been right in the very literatures since time immemorial. In fact, 5,000 years ago, the very literatures were documented, were written. But otherwise, it's been an oral reception. And we can you that our brains are very dull. With not very much proof remembrance. It's not like in the prior ages where the spiritual teacher or the professor speaks and the student just grab everything without even writing anything. These days we have to videotape, we have to otherwise we forget very easy. So the Hare Krishna mantra has undergone a lot of scrutiny, due scrutiny in the research industry. I remember in 1999, a PhD student conducted his dissertation on the Hare Krishna mantra, the effect of the Hare Krishna mantra on stress, anxiety, and tribulence. And he came up with profound findings that this sound vibration has positive impact on stress. In other words, it helps in stress, anxiety, depression. Again, this is something that it doesn't produce any side effects. The only positive side effects we can recognize is that it generates internal happiness. It helps us to control, to develop high sense of self-control. And these are social skills, or these are values that we cherish to be able to grow in the material world. Because basically, a number of people they have expertise in the field of management, in the field of leadership. But what really brings them down, what makes the people to sack them from their jobs? I know recently the governor of New York, I love the way that guy was administrating. But all of a sudden, there were so many accusations of low self-control, how he chased after women, how he robbed women without a consent. And America is like that. They come and they put him out of office. With all of his technicality, with all of his know-how. So, these very therapeutic intervention, sonic therapeutic intervention with Irish has been proven to be an effective tool for helping people to develop high self-control. But I have a lived experience. I have been practicing this therapy for over 38 years. So, I was born in India. So, I was into history. I tested it, and I found it to be very, very productive with my own secular setting, with my own academics and my profession. I've also read recently some professors from some senior Indian scholars from Chennai. They conducted research using the artificial method to test it on female nurses' depression, and they came up with positive results. So the point is that this mantra, which constitutes 32 syllables, is been proven to be very helpful. And that's why some of us, although we are not born into the Indian cultural heritage, we have experimented with it and we find it very useful. In fact, one research that I was conducting among college students, we found that their grades, the students who were chanting, they have upgraded grades when they started chanting. But in comparison to before they started chanting, in fact, I one of the research participants, she told me, she's a lawyer now practicing. She told me how she compared the whole team when the first started chanting reached on a particular level. When she embarked, she started participating or getting involved seriously with the chanting, her grades improved. Why? Because the mantra helps people not only to develop divine love for the absolute, but positive side effects like better concentration. And as a student, as a learner, you need better concentration to be able to achieve your goals. And so these 32 syllables therapeutic intervention has been proven to be a useful tool in creating a positive change in our lives. Problem statement. Now, when you want to give some presentation according to management science, which is my field, if you want to make a presentation, the first question that is, what is the problem you're trying to solve? What is lacking? Is it a general problem? Is it a specific problem? So what? So, self-leadership is the foundation for attaining individual and team goals. The primary elements of self-leadership include self-awareness, self-management, self-efficacy, emotional intelligence, and locus of control. Now we know that our research has brought to bear that external leadership, in other words, self-leadership facilitates external leadership such as empowerment and even sustainable leadership. So, I mean, even within the family setting, if you want to lead your family in a very favorable way to success, sustainably, you have to have a lot of development in self-leadership. Because if you don't lead yourself, how are you going to lead your family? And then, if you come to the point that you just shift blames to onto your spouse, you shift the blames to your kids, and you become aloof from the problems. But you should be responsible for the problems because you lack self-leadership. So self-leadership, we need it in our relationships. We need it in trying to be part of the participants in creating a world where everyone can have a better sense of humor, a better sense of joy, and economic and social development. The specific problem is that leaders in the private and public sector most often fail to recognize the importance or the value of self-leadership in creating a positive change, specifically in
developing our world for a better situation. And in the literature, in the management domain, we don't find much of documentation or much of research. In other words, research on sonic therapeutic intervention for leadership, for self-leadership, is negligible. And so when you establish your topic has been neglected or has not been sufficiently researched on in your domain, then that is a good reason to conduct research in that area. And therefore, research on sonic therapeutic intervention for self-leadership has been negligible in the management domain, and this very qualitative study fills the lacuna or the gap in the leadership literature. Grounded in May 2015, 1986, self-leadership and profers sonic therapeutic intervention frameworks, the purpose of this study is to diagnostically explore sonic therapeutic intervention for self-leadership. Research. What leads the researcher throughout his study? And so here the research question is, what are the lived experiences of sonic therapeutic intervention practitioners regarding sonic therapeutic intervention, facilitation of self-leadership? And the sub-question is, how does sonic therapeutic intervention facilitate self-leadership? What's up? Okay. A methodology and design. What is that? Research question? Okay. Methodology and design. So let me just go on. When we are conducting a research, whether it is inductive or deductive research, whether we are using inductive method or deductive method, we have to understand that we have to use the particular methodology and a design or an approach. So this very study, I utilize qualitative method. Why? Because qualitative method enables the researcher to be able to explore the literature and to be able to triangulate his or her research results with the main literature. The design, basically, the study was inductively, the data was inductively generated. So it's a document analysis design. The keywords: high self-control, internet use, peace of mind, self-leadership learning, sonic therapeutic intervention. Document review facilitated data collection. This is data collection. Document review facilitated data collection. In other words, this is an inductive study that was, the data was inductively generated, so the document review facilitated the data collection. The sources of document review: business source, complete, premier, EBSCO, Elsevier, Amaral, Google Scholar, Agenta, ProQuest, PubMed, Science Direct, Taylor and Francis, and theory of disabilities. The data was analyzed thematically. Results. Sonic therapeutic intervention enable focused and sustained concentration, emotional intelligence, high self-control, self-awareness, self-management. The itemized 5 teams facilitated self-leadership. Now, all of these items, based on the results of the study, these form components, or they are part of the elements that constitute self-leadership. Because if you're a self-leader, you must have emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is just a great thing in modern day society. Leaders have been evaluated as being qualified to lead their communities based on high or low emotional intelligence. In the West, emotional intelligence is just a big thing in the social sciences. And for a leader to be able to attain their goal, he must have high emotional intelligence. And sonic therapeutic intervention enables emotional intelligence. And we find that especially those who have been embarking on the practice of sonic therapy for a number of years, they have very high emotional intelligence. As persons or individuals in the academia, you need high emotional intelligence than anyone else. Because by the time you finish your studies, you finish, whether if you want to get 3 PhDs or whatever, you finish all of this, and then you're put in a high-profile position. That high emotional intelligence will help you to sustain your job. It will help you to maintain a better relationships with individuals in your constituency and with the outside world. Wars have been fought and are being fought because of leaders who have very low emotional intelligence. And therefore, we need emotional intelligence more than anyone else to be able to sustain our social life, our professional life, and our spiritual values. High self-control, I've already hinted on that. How we need to be able to have high self-control. And high self-control is a component of emotional intelligence. So the whole stuff, they are so much linked. So whether you want your social, you want your relationship to be enduring, you want to maintain your job, your high-profile job for the rest of your life, or you simply want to be happy for the rest of your life, you need sonic therapeutic intervention. So, having said that, I would like to open up for a further understanding of the future of this, the future of research in this field. What will be the value? What is the implication? In fact, in one university, in my institution in the US, I remember when we were trying to enroll for the PhD, one of the interviews you will have to pass is how your PhD is going to impact on social change. If it is just to get a degree, to get a badge on you, to promote yourself, your ego, you will not get the admission. You have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that your research will facilitate a positive social change in society. So, this research has an implication for social change, or this study has an implication for social change. But first, positive social change through enhanced management of learning. Also, more significant educational leadership and result-oriented decision-making in the academy or in the academic industry. Also, the study results have the potential to promote our individual and collective happiness associated with high performance. When you attain your goal in terms of performance, academic performance, you're just naturally happy. Your family is happy. Your community is happy. Everybody will claim that you are their son or their daughter or their brother. An achievement of desired academic goals. When you achieve your desired academic goals, you become like Suridam Sarvabhutan. You become like a friend to everybody. This is the nature of this material world, okay? The study results could enhance the social responsibility associated with achievement mindset. When people become achievers, they want to embark on more of social responsibility. They want to render some service to society. They want to help the poor. They want to help the needy. If you are so rich, at a point will come that you want to do this. Look at, all of these top guys, money magnets. They perform so much of charity because they know that is what is giving them happiness. When you help someone, the result is that you get some inner satisfaction. That is why you find so many people involved in expanding their social responsibility. So this study has the potential to enhance social responsibility associated with high academic success or performance. So that seems to be like the conclusion of this very presentation. And at this point, we may want to maybe get some input from the audience, maybe some comments. Yeah. Any comments? Yes, please. Someone is here.
Thank you for your wonderful insight. I would like to know from you the duration of how frequently we should see this word.
I've been doing it for, you see, one of the things that I do is that when I go to make presentations, for instance, in my discipline, I remember when we had our first residency, when we started the doctoral program. And when in the US, you have to choose your topic, your dissertation topic as you're registering. You have to. So when we had our first residency, one of the first things that I did was to choose my topic of, my dissertation topic. And I told the professors that, look, I'm a practitioner in the field, so I'm not just going to do this as a scholar and go to get a name. I said, I've been practicing for this number of decades. So, for the number of decades I've been practicing, I will encourage people You are all young people born within the Indian cultural heritage. You are lucky. There is a statement in the Vedic literature, specifically in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bharata Bhumi te hali manasya janma yara, janma swatakikara, kara upakara. You have more than fortunate. For you to take birth in India, you are extremely fortunate. So the instruction from the sages is that make good use of a great fortune. If you are born in a very rich family, take advantage. You explore, use the resources, go to school, study, go get as many PhDs as you want. But there are some children who are born in very wealthy families, they don't take advantage of their parental wealth. So you have this wealth, you are rich spiritually and materially. And therefore, I've been romancing with this therapy for over 3 decades, almost 4 decades. And sometimes people ask me, what did you drink that you feel so happy? I said, I don't drink anything. I said, I don't drink, I don't smoke. Also, what is making you so happy? I said, it's a therapy. It's an intervention. Our slogan is chant and be happy. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And you go into the streets of India, you see, like in Mayapur, I have so many Russians who are my friends. They are practitioners. So foreigners are coming to enjoy your spiritual heritage. What are you guys doing? Participate, tap into that resource and uplift your lives. You don't lose anything. You simply enrich your life with this therapy. So it should be every day. Should be every day. Yes.
Hello. Thank you so much for being here. I want to know that this study is qualitative study.
This is okay. Yes.
Yeah. So, is there any plan to perform any quantitative and medical studies?
That's a good point. Now, I have done some research work published with the World Academy of Science, Engineering and Technology in London on sonic therapy as a means of preventing financial fraud. And the scholar who conducted his research on sonic therapy, the effect of the chanting and Hare Krishna mantra on stress, anxiety, and depression, that was a quantitative study. See, in America, we specialize in different fields, in different methodologies. There are those professors who specialize in qualitative studies. America is, the specialties, they emphasize so much on specialties. So there are those professors who specialize on qualitative studies. There are those who specialize on quantitative studies. There are those who specialize in mixed studies. And there are some few who are like jack of all trades. So yeah, quantitative research has been conducted on sonic therapy and depression. And I remember the South Indian scholars who conducted their research on nurses depression. That was also quantitative study. If you check on Google Scholar, just Google chanting qualitative study or chanting quantitative study, you get some results. Thank you.
And the second question is, I am the part of the people who are practicing and people who are not practicing. So, I want to know from you what should be the main basis for proceeding ahead. Like, is the qualitative study would be okay or medical professionals would be together.
Okay, so research basically it depends on the interest of the researcher. There are some people they like quantitative studies. And look at the difference. Qualitative study gives you details, but it doesn't allow you to make a generalization in most cases. Quantitative studies gives you some peripheral information, but it enables you to generalize. And so it all depends on the individual. They are all gearing towards one objective, bringing up, generating ideas, and being able to create a coherence in the research domain for being the people's keepers and the gatekeepers of the academic domain. So essentially, it depends. I remember one of my Indian friends is conducting a research on the impact of I think the impact of Bhagavad Gita on work excellence. And so he's doing a quantitative study. He had, some of his friends had told him that he should go meet Vasudeva. But I've seen his work and it's super excellent. It's conducting quantitative studies. He likes calculations and all those things. The only thing is that quantitative studies do not give you in-depth information about the subject matter. It gives you basic fundamental structures, analysis, but you can generalize that. So either case, in anyone, you're good to go. They are all, it's like vehicles. You have a Mercedes, you have a BMW. It depends on what you like. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Any other comments or questions?
So what's that for presentation?
You're welcome.
I want to I want to ask how can I incorporate the practice in my daily life for like clarity of mind or better understanding of emotions?
Yeah. You see, we have a regulated way of life, and there are a number of the practitioners of sonic therapeutic intervention. They are scholars, they are students, even right here in the city. A number of students who are practitioners. Some of them are finishing their PhD, some of them have just submitted their dissertations, or what you call in India thesis. But in America, there's a distinction. A thesis means a master's project or undergrad project, and a doctoral program basically in America we call it dissertation. So there are some of them who have already submitted their dissertation. Some of them have graduated, they've finished their PhD, they are being practitioners. So it is something doable, and it enriches our concentration, our focus, and our emotional intelligence. And therefore, it's a matter of, I know this Mataji here, this lady here, she is an ophthalmologist. She's a practitioner. She's been a practitioner for years, since when she was in medical school. So you try to see her, okay? I knew her when she was in medical school in the Delhi area. So yeah, this is a very nice point. You see, my understanding is that if we who are foreigners can do it, you who are born here. I remember I went to a conference in South India at University of Pondicherry. And during the question and answer, normally the professors or the scholars, we like to find fault with the presentation of the other scholars. I remember one time I went to one conference in one country, and that time I was pretty young, I was younger, And one young professor who was helping with the organization of the conference, he came to call us, the younger scholars. He said, "Hey guys, come over here, Go to this hall. This elderly professor is making his presentation there. Go and find fault in his paper. He thinks he knows too much." That is the nature of. But when you have a serenity of mind and a serenity of purpose, basically you grow above all of those type of unnecessary, fault finding and unnecessary tendency to victimize other people, to bring other people down and all this thing. It creates some type of sanity in you. It creates some type of holiness. And so we'll encourage all of you to see how you take advantage. There's a center here. Okay, there's a center here, right here. This guy there, he's the head of that center. You can really connect with him and you'll be able to gain a lot from practicing sonic therapeutic intervention. And it will help you to moderate your life and create an effective system of time management which will facilitate. Thank you. Any other comments?
I just want to ask that is there a difference between the state of awareness and an intensified state of awareness? So do we differentiate between those? No. This is my first question.
I don't get your question. Can someone help me to say it?
Yeah.
Between state of awareness
Yeah. Do we have any difference between state of awareness? Right now we are experiencing a state of awareness.
Instead of influence.
Wakefulness.
Wakefulness. Okay. And awareness. They're synonymous.
Yeah, we have this knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one more field of research that I am right now doing is our body, our mind function in the state of different kind of cycles. Our body has different kind of cycles, our mind has different kind of cycles. So, we intervene sonic therapeutic intervention for this different kind of cycles that exist in the body mind. So, we can break away from those cycles. So that probably would be further scope of research in this direction.
I think so. Basically, the mind is characterized as sankalpa and vikalpa. Accepting one thing now and rejecting that same thing the next moment. So it's very difficult to deal with the mind. I mean, it's like trying to deal with a child who is maybe a 2 years old child or something like that. You can't control a 2 years old child. You tell Govinda, sit down there. That's the time that the boy will stand up. That's the nature of the mind. And so the unfortunate thing is that there are not so much of research based on the Vedic literature on the mind. And so the Western scholars who understand very little about the mind, even on top of that, there's a lot of speculation. Whereas there is so much of graphic details on the perspective of this, from the perspective of sages and Srila Vyasadeva, and so we don't have we don't have so much of research to even conduct regarding the mind because there is so much documentation there by the Supreme Personality of God Himself. And so yes, if people want to venture into research on the mind, why not? Essential thing is you get so much of information from your own Vedic literatures. And what your sages have said over the years about the mind is so true even for today. So people who do not control their minds, they are like slaves. They can't sustain their jobs. They can't sustain their relationships because the mind keeps flickering, going back and forth. And so, yeah, if we want to understand the world, first we understand ourselves. And the self is characterized as the whole body by dint of the mode of passion. In the mode of goodness, the self refers to the inner bearing. So again, this is also from your own Vedic literature. So yes, we'll encourage young people from Indian background, those of you who are born here, popularize your own teachings based on the Vedic literature by venturing into it. See, the point is modern day scholarship, you can do your PhD in any field and you can just go out to do what you want. I remember one of my professors, he told me, he told us, take a simple thing, do your dissertation. When you graduate, then you can try to become an Einstein. But for now, don't try to become an Einstein. Take a simple thing, go and finish up. And when you go to any place, when you say something, they will listen to you. When you conduct some research, the people will also bear with you and have some insight with you based on your skill, based on your academic development. So yes, it is important for young people to be able to think about how to help themselves, because there is so much of trouble in the modern day society. And that is caused mostly by the mind. Yes.
Personally, based on academics, we have so many work. It is very difficult for everyone. So it becomes very difficult to try and these therapeutic practices as we are one of the work. And so sometimes we tend to speak the practices and then it becomes difficult to manage. That is the first question. So how we do convince ourselves to practice this. Secondly, there are other options which is very clear to other media that there are these physical yoga, this is meditation, and this one therapeutic intervention also, the chanting of therapeutic tools. So there are so many ways that are going to heal ourselves or to make heal ourselves or etc. So how to practice this?
Yeah, that's a nice question. What I'm having two options or multiple options. How do I know which is best for me? That's summarily your question. So we have to consult. We have to consult this, what you call the Sastra, the Sadhus, and the Guru. Gurus means the living present acharyas. And so here comes what you can get. Now, a number of the practices, for instance, pranayama, a number of practices, another case in point, say yoga. We have 4 ages, 4 yugas. And each yuga, there is a prescribed methodology for spiritual development. Now, if we are in Kali Yuga and we are trying to practice what is achievable, what is obtainable in Satya Yuga, where people were living for 100,000 years, and one approach to a particular or a segment of a particular practice will take you some 10,000 years. We don't even live up to 1,000 years. So we need to consult people who are practitioners. What is the prescribed methodology for our spiritual development in this yuga? This yuga, the age of quarrel and anxiety, the age of fighting. And sometimes people think the world is going to become a better place. But we are in the age of Kali, and things get deteriorating. And so, time to waste. We should make consultation with practitioners. Or we could maybe make investigation ourselves. Basically, what is the prescribed religious principle or spiritual principle for people in Kali Yoga. And if you will come to the conclusion, it is that practice that is rooted on the use of sound to create a viable future, to create a positive change. Now, when you do something, you should examine yourself. That is science. Am I getting positive results? And yes, we are engaged in studies, work, and to incorporate this type of practice could be a challenge. But how to overcome that? Have an effective system of managing your time. You have 24 hours. I'll tell you a brief story before I leave. I had a chance or the opportunity to meet an Indian medical doctor. He finished his MBBS in India. He got a scholarship to do his MD in America. So we met in Michigan, and he was riding in the car with me for a program that I was going for presentation. And then at some point in time, he asked that Maharaj, because by my status, it also I am called Maharaj. So he said, Maharaj, can I ask you a question? I said, you're free, you're my friend. You ask any question. He said, we medical doctors, he's a medical doctor. He said, we medical doctors, we don't have the time to do this sonic therapeutic intervention because our whole time is focused on studies. I said, it's good for you. But hey, my friend, tell me, how will you use your 24 hours? So we went ahead to analyze the 24 hours. How many hours he used for studies, classwork, going to lectures. After that, how many hours he used for his private studies. And then I asked him, how many hours he used for reading. When he sits down to read, how many hours would he be able to read before he gets tired? And when he gets tired, what does he do? Then he told me, when he gets tired, he goes out to play. So I said, that time that you go out to play, you can play around sonic therapeutic intervention. You can go for a japa walk. In fact, when we finish analysis, there is a chunk of time that he couldn't account for. And you know what? He looked at me and then almost like crying. He said, Maharaj, I'm sorry, I didn't use my time properly. So in most cases, we fail to use our time properly. And then, and this happens a lot. I remember when I was even doing my doctorate, some of my peers, they had families. They would lock up their rooms and no family members should come to see them because they're busy studying. But at the end of the day, they will go to the internet and look for meetups. And then they will still go out to meet people. So what is the use of that? Why don't you create some time to also give quality time to your family members? We are social animals. We need association. And so, effectively, to be able to fine-tune our social progress, we can do without association, without socialization. We can do that based on quality time, but sometimes we think that we don't have the time. But we must have the time anyway. And so, by effectively managing our time, we'll be able to integrate our social life with our interventions and grow in a very amazing ways. Thank you. All right. I think that we can stop here. What is it? Our time is up. Is it? Okay. So, again, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. And just in case you're feeling shy to ask me a question,